جزاك الله خير وبركاته. إن شاء الله let's begin. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. ربنا زدنا علما. اللهم انفعنا بما علمتنا وعلمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما. آمين يا رب العالمين. Okay, just Heather. I'm not sure you participate in the class, so I'm more concerned about the quiet students. Most of them they come and go and they're just quiet, so the comment was for them. So mashallah, usually they're participating and in the end you give remarks as well. So barakallahu fikum. But inshallah, so last week we started the story of Shoaib alayhi salam, and his message to his nation was that to worship Allah alone. He was advising them that there is no other God, so they should be monotheists. They should only worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not associate any partners with him. Also, they were into making a lot of money. They were stuck with that, and what means they would use to make money, it did not matter to them. So they would reduce in the measure and weight, and he's advising them not to do that. He advises them that you are already affluent. You do not you're not poor, that you need to be treacherous and you need to cheat in the trade in order to make money. So fear Allah, and he fears for them for a punishment of the day that they will have no way to escape. So there'll be no way that they could escape the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he warns them and advises them to not do that, not to be treacherous in the trade, and not to spread corruption in the earth. So corruption is two ways, either disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's also corruption, and also dealing with people in the corrupt manner and causing mistrust and causing damage to relationships or the physical earth, that's also corruption. So he's advising them not to be corrupt. Baqiyatullahi khairul lakum in kuntum mu'minin, and whatever remains with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is better for you if you're believers. And why just believers? Because Quran has revealed this concept over and over again and explained it to us that only when you're a believer, when you have iman and you do amal saleh, then you will have your reward reserved with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in akhirah on the day of judgment. And you will be rewarded for it, for the good deeds. Those people who do not do good deeds with iman, and because they don't have iman and they don't do their good deeds to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they don't do it for afterlife, that's why their reward is already paid off in dunya, and in akhirah their deeds will be blown away like ashes because they will have no reward in the akhirah. So he's advising them that if you're believers, then whatever you send ahead, when you are doing your trade fairly, you are establishing justice, you're treating other people fairly, then the good that you're sending away, yes, maybe you might have to compromise on the income that you're receiving with unlawful means. It might reduce because you're following the lawful means and you're fulfilling the measure and weight. But whatever you're sending ahead, yani the sacrifice that you're making by being on the right path, then you will be rewarded for it. And whatever is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we all know that it is lasting, and the benefit of dunya is very short and temporary. وَمَا أَنَا عَلَيْكُمْ بِحَفِيظ, and he says that I'm not a guard on you, yani I'm not going to stand there and keep an eye on you and watch you who follows my instructions or not, or he cannot force people to follow the religion. Rather, his job is to convey. So he declares that I'm not a guard on you, I'm not going to stand and fix you. Rather, it's your own personal choice that you have to follow the right path. If you don't do it, then I warn you of the punishment. So they respond back to him. قالوا يا شعيب أصلاتك تأمرك أن نترك ما يعبد آباؤنا. So they said, "Oh Shu'aib, is it your prayer that commands you that you stop us from worshipping what our forefathers worshipped?" So now instead of taking advice, they started finding a reason why Shu'aib alayhi salam is advising them. So they're blaming that maybe you pray too much. Because of your prayer, you stop us that we worship idols that they saw their forefathers worshipping. So but they were doing taqleed. They saw their parents doing it or their grandparents doing it, so they're just following that religion. And Shoaib al-Islam had divine revelation. He's advising them because he received the message, but instead of taking advice, they are criticizing him because they're stubborn. They don't want to accept his advice. أو أن نفعل في أموالنا ما نشاء, or that we do in our wealth whatever we wish. Yani, it's it's none of your business. It's a personal matter how we make money. So they are kind of rejecting his advice, and they're pointing fingers at him. Maybe it's your prayer that is making you do that. You pray too much. إِنَّكَ لَأَنْتَ الْحَلِيمُ الرَّشِيدُ. And in order to mock him, they say, indeed, you are the only one who is forbearing and rightly guided man over here. So you are the only one forbearing. So they're not praising him. They're saying you're righteous. So they're condemning his righteousness. They're saying maybe you pray too much and you are the only one rightly guided here. That's why you're stopping us from doing these things. Yeah, you're the only one on the right path. So they're making fun of him and saying that you're too righteous or too forbearing with all other people who are not following the right path. So he responds back, قال يا قوم أرأيتم إن كنت على بينة من ربي ورزقني منه رزقا حسنا. He says, oh, have you considered if I was on the clear proof from my Rabb, yani what he's advising is a revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's not saying all of this because he wants to stand out in the crowd or he wants some superiority or leadership. That's why he's asking people. No, maybe he's questioning the nation. Have you ever thought that what if this is the truth? What if I received the revelation from my Lord? And he provided me with good provision. Yani, I'm not poor, I'm not needy, that I need something from you. That's why I'm after you and advising you these things. Rather, I have been given good provision by my Lord to me. I'm not dependent on receiving any money from you. وَمَا أُرِيدُ أَنْ أُخَالِفَكُمْ إِلَى مَا أَنْهَاكُمْ عَنْ. And also, he gives one more argument to them, give one more explanation to them, that I do not wish that I go against you to forbid you from what you're doing. So, yani, some people they have this personality. They just go and whatever someone is doing, they would tell them to do something else, something contrary to it because that's their personality. So he's giving explanation that no, I don't like going and correcting people. That's not the reason I'm telling you. So don't consider that I have nothing else to do and that's why I just come and criticize you all for doing what you're doing. Rather, this is the revelation of my Lord. That's why I'm doing it. In uridu illa al-islah mastatat. I do not wish or desire anything except the reformation according to my capability. Yani whatever is my capability to best of my ability, I'm trying to reform the community. I want good for all of you. And that's my reason of coming and advising you not to do these things that he advised them with. وَمَا تَوْفِيقِي إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ. And there is no suitability for me except with Allah. Yani whatever I'm able to do, the da'wah that he's giving to them, or following the right path, or anyone else would follow the right path. He's saying that this tawfiq, this ability, is only from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Only He chooses and gives this guidance to someone, an ability to implement and walk the right path. Alayhi tawakkaltu wa ilayhi unib. On Him I trust, and to Him I return. Yani, tawakkul is whenever he's doing his job and it becomes difficult and people are pointing fingers at him and they might try to hurt him, then he relies on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yani his reliance is, he's saying, I trust on him. No matter how the whole community is going against me, it doesn't frighten me because I trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm doing his job, so I trust in Allah. Also, he returns to him for advice. Unib, I already talked about it in last class as well, that Unib is someone who goes back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again and again. See, throughout the day, you're doing different tasks, and in the middle of a task, whenever you're questioning yourself, like you have to make a choice, it's as if you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you think in your mind and what's the best choice to make. And you return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you take advice from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. See, the Prophet ﷺ taught companions the dua of istikhara as if it was as important it was as the prayer was important. So he taught them the dua of istikhara, and this is how important it is to do istikhara frequently, and we usually underestimate doing that. and we think, okay, do 2 prayers. Sometimes if you don't have time and you cannot pray 2 rakah and make dua, then you can just make dua as well. So all of you should know that dua, or at least have it saved in your phone, so that whenever you're in need of making decisions, smallest decisions, then you should follow that. Because imagine receiving the divine guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make a choice and making choice on your own. There will be a huge difference. So he is unib, he's returning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala whenever he feels the need, whenever he thinks of he needs guidance, he returns to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for guidance constantly throughout. وَيَا قَوْمِ لَا يَجْرِمَنَّكُمْ شِقَاقِي أَن يُصِيبَكُم مِثْلُ مَا أَصَابَ قَوْمَ نُوحٍ أَوْ قَوْمَ هُودٍ أَوْ قَوْمَ صَالِحٍ. O my nation, should not incite you dispute with me. Yani disputing me should not incite you, should not push you. That would afflict you. Something similar would afflict you that afflicted the nation of Nuh and nation of Hud and nation of Salih alayhi wasalam. So he's giving an example of the past prophets and their nation, and he's saying that because they were opposing their prophets and their nations were destroyed, just in my opposition, don't look at me. Sometimes we have this prejudice against some people. No matter what they come and tell us, we're so angry at them in our heart that we're like, no, I cannot take advice of this person. Maybe someone else, if they would tell me, I would follow their advice. So he's saying that don't have this anger towards me and um this disruption in your heart for me that would stop you from following the right path, and consequently you would be punished like the nations of the past prophets were punished. وَمَا قَوْمُ لُوطٍ مِّنكُمْ بِبَعِيدٍ, and nation of Lut is not far from you. So he's imagine this, the nation of Lut al-Islam is the time when Ibrahim al-Islam's time is close by, because Lut al-Islam was nephew of Ibrahim al-Islam. And if you remember last week, we did the story where angels came to Ibrahim al-Islam first, and then they actual purpose they were on the earth was to destroy the nation of Lut al-Islam. So this is the time frame. He's telling them that the nation of Lut is not far from you, yani not far in time from you. That yani these stories of these prophets and their nations were known. You know how there are all these folk tales that exist. So in the time of Shoaib al-Islam, all these stories were known to people. So he's reminding them that this should not repeat. History should not repeat. That if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala became angry at you because you are going in my opposition, because of this, I'm afraid that you will be punished. وَاسْتَغْفِرُوا رَبَّكُمْ ثُمَّ تُوبُوا إِلَيْهِ. So seek forgiveness of your Lord, then repent to Him. Yani seek forgiveness on your sins that you have been committing. You know how? Because sometimes it's the sin of people that stop them from walking the right path. If you remember, we have covered this concept in Quran very clearly. So he's asking them to seek forgiveness first. So ask Allah to forgive you, then repent. Yani repentance it's a whole process where you realize it's wrong, then you change it, then you make promise that you'll never do it again, and you reform your actions and you remain firm on it. So he said, do tawbah, yani change your ways, become a good person. Inna Rabbi Rahimun Wadud, and if they do that, indeed my Lord is especially merciful, most merciful and most loving. Yani Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves and cares, and He's merciful especially towards the believers, those who do their best to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he's advising them to follow that path. قالوا يا شعيب ما نفقه كثيرا مما تقول. So instead of taking the advice from Shoaib al-Islam, they respond back, "O Shoaib," they said, "O Shoaib, what you said, much of what you say, we don't understand it. Yani, whatever your speech you're giving, we don't understand what you're saying." So they're not ready to, it's not that they cannot understand his words, rather, the message is not going across their hearts where they would rationalize it, they would take benefit from it. So they're saying, much of what you say is not understandable for us. وَإِنَّا لَنَرَاكَ فِينَا ضَعِيفًا, and we see you weak among us. So now they're threatening him. They're saying, you're a weak man. You come and advise us, and we're strong people, we're powerful, and we see you weak. Yani it's kind of sad. They're reminding him that he doesn't hold much worth if they try to hurt him. وَلَوْلَا رَحْتُكَ لَرَجَمْنَاكَ, and if it wasn't for your family, we would have stoned you. So now they said it clearly that why they're not hurting him, because they have regard for his family, because you know how there are tribal system in um, Arabian Peninsula, and people, if someone was from one tribe, then whole tribe would come and protect that person. They would have this protection of the tribe. So they're saying, and he was from their own nation, right? Shoaib al-Islam was from his people. So he's saying that it's just because you are from our nation, that's why, that's the only regard we have for not hurting you. Otherwise, we'd have hurt you. وَمَا أَنْتَ عَلَيْنَا بِعَزِيزٍ, and you're not um, at all strong and mighty on us, against us. Yani, you would not be able to stop us at all. You don't have any power or strength to stop us if we try to hurt you or kill you by stoning. قال يا قوم أرهطي أعز عليكم من الله. He said, "O my nation, is my family more worthy near you than Allah?" Yani, they don't realize value of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but he does. So he's amazed and surprised. He's saying, how could you value my family more than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? وَاتَّخَذْتُمُوهُ وَرَاءَهُمْ ظِهْرِيًّا, and you have taken him behind your backs, forgotten, neglected. Yani, they have completely neglected message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they don't pay attention to obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even though stories still exist in the past, past nations are there, their stories are there. So people, after some time, they distant from the divine revelation, and that's what's become the reason of them going astray. So here we see that they had forgotten the message that came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, revelation that came to the past nations, to the past prophets, and that's what caused them to deviate from the correct path. So he said that you completely disregard what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has, the value Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has, rather you give value to my family more. Inna Rabbi bima ta'maluna muhit, indeed my Rabb is with whatever you do, all encompassing. Yani, he is watching, each and every action that you're performing, each and every word that you're saying, whatever you do, everything is known to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And ahata is when someone has complete control over something. It's as if everything is right in front of you, in middle of your hands, and in your reach. So that's what ahata is. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is muhit over them, yani he has full capability to seize them, to punish them, and he knows everything as well, whatever they are doing, because they're right in his reach. وَيَا قَوْمِ اعْمَلُوا عَلَى مَكَانَتِكُمْ إِنِّي عَامِلٌ. O my nation, do on your places, and indeed I work as well. Yani, work according to your lifestyle, your religion, whatever you follow, and I work according to the revelation that I have been given. So you do work in your place, and I'll do work the way I have been advised. سوف تعلمون من يأتيه عذاب يخزيه ومن هو كاذب. Soon you will know to whom the humiliating punishment would come and who is a liar. Yani, because they said, we don't even understand what you're saying. It doesn't make sense to us. So he's saying that you don't believe the message that I give to you. So let's wait. You live your life the way you think is the correct path, and I will live my life the way I'm saying is the correct path. And soon, when the punishment, humiliating punishment comes, then everything will be decided. Who is a liar, who is truthful, who is on the right path, who is not. It will be made clear. وَارْتَقِبُوا إِنِّي مَعَكُمْ رَقِيبٌ. And you should wait and watch. Indeed, I'm with you waiting and watching. Raqib is irtaqibu and raqib. They both are from the same root, ra, qaf, ba. And raqaba is when someone is waiting for something to happen. So they're waiting and watching for something to occur. So he's saying that wait and watch and see how the future unfolds for you and me. And you will be clear then. Yani, at this point, they have given them dawah to best of his ability, but they did not listen. So say he's giving them the warning. That is last thing that prophets would do to their nation. وَلَمَّا جَاءَ أَمْرُنَا نَجَّيْنَا شُعَيْبًا وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مَعَهُ بِرَحْمَةٍ مِنَّا. And when our command came, we saved Shu'aib and those who believed in him with our mercy. Yani, as a mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, his way, that he would always save the prophet and the believers whenever he was punishing, even if he was annihilating the whole nation. So when the punishment came for Shu'aib al-Islam's nation, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala followed the same sunnah. He saved Shu'aib al-Islam and the believers in him. out of his mercy. وَأَخَذَتِ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا الصَّيْحَةُ فَأَصْبَحُوا فِي دِيَارِهِمْ جَاثِمِينَ. And those who were wrongdoers or unjust, they were seized by soiha. Soiha is a loud, piercing sound. It was a similar soiha was mentioned for the nation of Thamud al Islam as well. For the Thamud, the nation Thamud, for the nation of Salih al Islam. So soiha killed them. فَأَصْبَحُوا فِي دِيَارِهِمْ جَاثِمِينَ. So they became in their homes laying face down. Jathim is when someone um, bends down on their knees and then they fall on their face. So a loud shriek, such loud sound that human ear cannot um, bear, and because of the extreme pain, they bend down on their knees and they fall face down, and the entire nation was finished there with that punishment. كَأَلَّمْ يَغْنَوْا فِيهَا, as if they never benefited in it. Yani it was as if the whole nation was gone, as if they never lived there in their houses. They never benefited from the worldly benefit that was there in the houses and the marketplaces that were in the city. أَلَا بُعْدًا لِمَدْيَنَ كَمَا بَعِدَتْ ثَمُودَ. No doubt there is distancing. Bu'd is also another word for la'na. So there is curse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for Madian, yani people of Madian. Madian is the name of the city in which Shu'aib alayhi salam was preaching. Just as there was curse or distancing for Thamud. So Thamud, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought, and their example as well has been given because they were both killed with a similar punishment. So similar to distancing for Samud is the similar punishment for Madian, people of Madian as well. And this is where the story finishes for that. And curse in dunya is when someone loses the ability to follow the right path. They have lost all the opportunities. There is no way that they can now follow the right path. So this is the curse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A person is pushed away from the right path. And the curse in afterlife, in akhirah, is when someone is entered in hellfire. So there is distancing, physical distancing between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and people of hell. And then there is humiliation and curse and being far from mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in afterlife is paradise. So they're far from paradise. So they are in curse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is hellfire. وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا مُوسَى بِآيَاتِنَا وَسُلْطَانٍ مُبِينٍ. And now the next story of the next prophet. Suddenly we sent Musa alayhi salam with our signs, with our verses and clear evidences. So Musa alayhi salam went to Fir'aun and his nation with 9 signs, if you remember. So there was a staff, a glowing hand, and then there were different punishments that came over time. The frog, the locust, there was a flood, there was a drought, then there was the water turned bloody. So all those signs and clear proofs that Musa alayhi salam came to nation of Fir'aun, ila Fir'auna wa mala'ihi fattaba'u amra Fir'aun, to Fir'aun and his elite. So why only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned Fir'aun and elite? Because they were very dominating people. So anyone who was under their rule was forced to follow what they were doing. So when you want to fix the society, if you fix the elite of the society, the followers will automatically follow because they are sometimes just blind following. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Musa alayhi salam to Fir'aun and his affluent elite people of the nation who were around him, who would give him advice, and they were together deciding how to go about in life or what decisions to make. And in this case, how to deal with Musa alayhi salam as well. But they followed command of Fir'aun. فَاتَّبَعُوا أَمْرَ فِرْعَوْنَ. So, yani, they rejected the message that Musa alayhi salam brought, and they rather followed the message, the command of Fir'aun. Whatever Fir'aun said, they followed that. وَمَا أَمْرُ فِرْعَوْنَ بِرَشِيدٍ. And the matter of Fir'aun or the command of Fir'aun was not at all righteous, but it was not rightly guided. So Fir'aun was misguided. He led his nation to misguidance because that's what he commanded them to do, whatever he was doing. يَقْدُمُ قَوْمَهُ. يقدم قومه يوم القيامة فأوردهم النار. He advanced his nation, yani he led them يوم القيامة, on the day of judgment, Yani he was leading his nation when in the worldly life, and he led them right into the punishment, the drowning sea where they drowned. He drowned with his entire nation. And on the day of judgment, he will lead them to فَأَوْرَدَهُمُ النَّارِ, to the fire, then they will arrive at fire. So he will lead his nation. He led his nation in dunya to the punishment, and he will be leading his nation on the day of judgment to hellfire as well. Just a little reminder here that on the day of judgment, when people are raised and resurrected, all people will gather behind in groups. They will be gathered in groups, and they will be gathered behind those who they follow. So people who follow the lifestyle of their own, or they literally followed when he was alive, they will all be gathered under his flag. Imagine there's a king or a leader, and everybody's following. Everyone who is following them, they're gathering around him. Similarly, prophets, all their followers will be gathering around them, and the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam will be the biggest nation. So on the day of judgment, when people will be gathered in groups, they will be separated because of what they lived, how they lived their lives, and people will be able to analyze and judge each other. Okay, they were the followers of this, and they were the followers of that. وَبِئْسَ الْوِرْدُ الْمَوْرُودُ, and bad is the place of arrival, and those who arrive at that place. So those who are coming to the place, they are bad, and the place that they're arriving at is bad because it's hellfire. Hellfire is the bad destination, and those who are coming are bad people because they were doing bad deeds. So people doing bad deeds, they are bad people. They'll be reaching the bad destination, which is hellfire. وَأُتْبِئُوا فِي هَذِهِ لَعْنَةً وَيَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ, and they were followed in this life. Yani هذه means it's not mentioned, dunya is not mentioned here, but it refers to in this worldly life, la'ana, with curse. Yani they were followed with curse. Curse, what is curse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? When someone loses the ability to walk the right path, they're far from hayat al-tayyibah. So the curse followed them in this worldly life. They lost the ability to walk the right path. So yawm al-qiyamati, and also on the day of judgment, lana will follow them, the curse will follow them because they will enter the hellfire. بِئْسَ الرِّفْدُ الْمَرْفُودُ, and how bad is the gift and the one who is receiving the gift. So this is sarcasm, right? The hellfire cannot be a gift. And even if it is a very, very bad gift. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said it's a bad rift is something is someone is given it as a gift. So they will receive the bad gift, and one who's receiving is bad too, right? ذَلِكَ مِنْ أَنْبَاءِ الْقُرَى نَقُصُّهُ عَلَيْكَ, that is from news of the towns that we narrated on you. Yani Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is being addressed here in this ayah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling him that this information, all these stories that we have been studying from last few classes, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, we informed you the news, the information, the story of these towns, and we narrated on you. Yani Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was not there. He wasn't existing. His knowledge is not vast that would cover all that was existed before him. He wasn't there at that time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala informed him through revelation. Minha qa'imun wa hasid, among them are firm, established, and among others are harvested, completely gone, eradicated. So some nations see how the believers and the prophets were saved, and then their generations, upcoming generations, kept surviving on earth. So some of them are still living, and others have completely finished because those who disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and disbelieved in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they were punished and completely finished. And also, if we look at the ruins of those towns, then some towns, their remnants are found. There are research, there are whole field of archaeology that's going on, that people dig those places, and then they find out the facts, and they find out what they try to analyze, and find out what was the history, how those people lived. So some of the remnants, they are there for us to see and take lesson, and the others are completely gone. There's no trace left for them. وَمَا ظَلَمْنَاهُمْ وَلَكِنْ ظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ, and we did not wrong them, rather they wronged themselves. Yani when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punished them, it wasn't injustice on behalf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rather, He sent the prophets, He made everything clear to them, the wrong path and the right path, but they made this choice and they did zulm on themselves by choosing wrong. So because of their injustice towards themselves, they were destroyed. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not unjust at all. فما أغنت عنهم آلهتهم التي يدعون من دون الله من شيء لما جاء أمر ربك. And their gods that they used to worship, that they used to supplicate to beside Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, did not benefit them with anything when command of your Lord came. Yani when the command of punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala came, those idols did nothing. They don't have any capability. They don't have any power to protect them. They can't even protect themselves. So they were not able to avert any punishment from these people, and they were not able to protect them or save them or find a way to escape the punishment. وَمَا زَادُوهُمْ غَيْرَ تَتْبِيبٍ, and not they increased them except in more destruction. So they only increased them in more destruction because they were the wrong path. They were the idols. They disassociate themselves on the day of judgment from their worshippers. And we have studied different responses of people of hell when they're asked, where are your gods that you used to worship? Some completely refused. They said, no, we never worshipped anyone. And others said they're lost from us. And we realize now that there is no God but you. So they ask to be sent back so that they can walk the right path. But it's too late. After day of judgment, it's too late. There's no going back. So these gods only increase them in more destruction. وَكَذَلِكَ أَخْذُ رَبِّكَ إِذَا أَخَذَ الْقُرَى وَهِيَ ظَالِمَةٌ. And likewise, your Lord seizes when he seizes the town while it is unjust. Yani when a whole town, majority of the people of the town are unjust, they are following the wrong path. They're oppressing the good people. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala seizes them this way. Yani this is the norm of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In akhzahu alimun shadid. Indeed, his seizing and his grasp, his punishment for them is severely painful. Inna fi dhalika la'ayatan liman khafa adhab al-akhirah. Indeed, in this verily is a sign for whoever fears the punishment of afterlife. And this is a reminder that most of the times we are completely engrossed in worldly life, day-to-day tasks and this achievement and that achievement, unless and until we have the reminder of our death and we have the reminder of afterlife, we cannot fix ourselves. We cannot put our direction straight to what's more important and what's not important, what's less important, what should be ignored and compromised at, and what should not be compromised at, because otherwise the life of this world is consuming. It just consumes your complete attention and will never let you look here and there unless and until you have this strong connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through Quran, and you remind yourself over and over again that this life is temporary and we're going to die, and we don't even know what time of death each one of us have. Like, do we have more time, a few minutes or days or weeks or years, or we don't have that much time? So reminder of afterlife and having fear of punishment of afterlife is something that puts a person on the straight path. ذَلِكَ يَوْمٌ مَجْمُوءٌ لَهُ النَّاسُ وَذَلِكَ يَوْمٌ مَشْهُودٌ. And that is a day when all the people will be gathered to him. Yani all the people will be gathered together for accountability in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he will hold them accountable and give them recompense accordingly, how they deserve. And that is a day of mashhud, when witnesses will be standing. Yani all the witnesses will testify either in favor or against people. So that's also a day of testifying. People will be testifying in favor or against each other. وَمَا نُؤَخِّرُهُ إِلَّا لِأَجَلٍ مَعْدُودٍ. And we did not delay it except for a specific time. Yani Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not delayed the day of judgment up until there's a specified time. It's not known to us, but the time has been fixed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. See how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wrote everything with the pen before starting to create anything, what will happen till the day of judgment, and everything is decided already. With his complete knowledge, he knows everything that will happen. So there's a fixed specified time for that day when all people will gather before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there is no delay in it. Yani Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not delay it at all, except to a specific time. When that time comes, it will take place. يَوْمَ يَأْتِي لَا تُكَلَّمُ نَفْسٌ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِهِ. a day no soul will come, no soul will be able to speak, to kallimu, no soul will be able to speak except by his permission. So on the day of judgment, imagine you're standing um, before a judge or it's a gathering and you have to speak, but how sometimes because of nervousness people lose the ability to speak, right? They get nervous and it's as if they cannot even say a word from your mouth. Imagine standing before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that day no one will have permission to say anything except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala permits that person to speak. So no soul will have permission to speak except that it is given permission by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَمِنْهُمْ شَقِيٌّ وَسَعِيدٌ. So Sa'id, so among them will be wretched, Shaki, Yani, those people who are deserving punishment. So they are wretched. They did not follow the right path. And Sa'id, good, lucky people. So they are lucky people, they're going to receive paradise. So there will be unlucky people who will be receiving hellfire as a recompense, and there will be lucky people who will be receiving paradise. So there'll be mixed standing in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment. فَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ شَقُوا فَفِي النَّارِ لَهُمْ فِيهَا زَفِيرٌ وَشَهِيقٌ. So as for those who are wretched, yani those who are unlucky people, then they will be in the fire. For them, in the fire will be zafirun is exhaling, wa shahikun inhaling. So these are two loud noises that would be heard in hellfire. Imagine when someone is in pain and you are only listening to them in pain for a very long time. Imagine listening to someone in pain. It's a torture in itself. Even if you're not in pain, but listening to that, the voice of pain would cause that torture to you. So this is part of the punishment of people of hell. And then they will be exhaling and inhaling of the hellfire as well. So people will hear these ugly and disliked sounds in hellfire. This is part of the punishment. خالدين فيها ما دامت السماوات والأرض إلا ما شاء ربك. They will live in it forever as long as the skies and the earth remain. So as long as these creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remain, these people will remain in hellfire illa ma sha'a rabbuk, except whatever your Lord wishes. What this illa ma sha'a rabbuk means that some people who are monotheists, but they will end up in hellfire. They will not be there for eternity. They will be there for a very long time to be punished for their bad deeds, but eventually they'll be taken out because they will complete their sentence of punishment for their bad deeds. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take them out and then give them permission to enter paradise. Inna rabbaka fa'alu lima yurid. Indeed, your Lord does whatever He wishes. Yani, if He decides to take someone out of hellfire, He'll do it. Nobody can stop Him. If He decided it this way, then this is how it will take place. So this is what Masha Arabic means. وَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ سُئِلُوا فَفِي الْجَنَّةِ خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا مَا دَامَتِ السَّمَاوَاتُ وَالْأَرْضُ إِلَّا مَا شَاءَ رَبُّكَ. And as for those who are lucky people, then they'll be in the paradise living forever, and they will live in it forever as long as the skies and the earth remain, except whatever your Lord wishes. So this part, illa ma sha'a rabbuk, the tafsir has explained it in a way that this means that because some people will not be living their eternity in paradise, rather they will be delayed and they will be punished in hellfire, and then they will be brought back to paradise, and they will be off because they'll be coming out of hellfire. They will be entered in house, and when they come out, their skin will have burning marks. So they'll still be recognized as Jahannamiyun even after they have entered paradise and they came out of hellfire. Even then, because of those marks, they'll be recognized. So this is what scholars have explained, that this is what it means, illa ma sha'a rabbuk, even though my mind was not ready to accept. So I've studied few tafsir. I wasn't able to go into too much detail. I couldn't make time for it. But this is how it is explained, because this illa ma sha'a rabbuk has to do something for people of paradise living in paradise, and then later, after eternity living in paradise, maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decide to do something. and that's in hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He decides, he changes things however he wishes to change. Wallahu alam. How more explanation of that or could be understood from this part of the ayah, only Allah knows best. Ata'an ghayra majduz, a gift that is never discontinued. So paradise is the kind of gift that will never discontinue, it will never be reduced, and they will never be taken out of the paradise. فَلَا تَكُ فِي مِرْيَةٍ مِّمَّا يَعْبُدُ هَؤُلَاءِ. So you should not be in any doubt from what these worship. These people who worship idols, it should not put you in doubt. When majority of people are doing something, what happens? Sometimes you start doubting yourself. In the weak moments when you are walking, you're only one walking that path, or very few people walking the same path. You start questioning yourself: is this the right thing to do? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, don't have any doubt. Because they're majority doesn't really mean that you should doubt yourself from what they are doing. مَا يَعْبُدُونَ إِلَّا كَمَا يَعْبُدُ آبَاؤُهُم مِّن قَبْلِ. They don't worship except what their forefathers used to worship before them. They are only doing taqleed, they are only blind following their ancestors in doing what they did by worshiping idols. وَإِنَّا لَمُوَفُّوهُم. And if you put this eye in our time frame, most of the people follow culture. It's easy to follow because everyone else is doing it, and they're doing in taqleed. If a culture goes against our religion, then we have to stop following it. We have to be strong enough to stop that cultural taqleed, cultural blind following from happening in our generation and in generation of our children. وَإِنَّا لَمُوَفُّوهُم نَصِيبَهُم غَيْرَ مَنْقُوصٍ. And indeed, they will be given their share fully without any reduction. When these people die and they will be punished for their bad deeds, they will be given the share of the evil that they had done without any reduction in it. And if we put this part on the opposite side, where people are righteous and they are given reward, then they will not be reduced at all from anything from the reward. Rather, it will be multiplied and increased, right? وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا مُوسَى الْكِتَابَ فَاخْتُلِفَ فِيهِ. And certainly we gave Musa the book, but they differed in it. Nation of Musa alayhi salam, Bani Israel, they differed and they divided into sects and groups. وَلَوْلَا كَلِمَةٌ سَبَقَتْ مِنْ رَبِّكَ لَقُضِيَ بَيْنَهُمْ. And if it wasn't for the statement of your Lord that has passed, a decision that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made earlier, He would have surely decided between them. Imagine people are disputing about a concept right in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He knows who is on the right path, who is not on the right path. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided not to punish the entire nation, to annihilate the entire nation like He has done in the past, right? Because these are believers. They're monotheists. Even if they are making mistakes and they're differing each other and they're fighting with each other, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them respite to change their ways and be on the right path, and then the decision will be made on the day of judgment, who is right and who's wrong. So all those disputes that are there among people who are monotheists, they will be decided on the day of judgment, and clarifications will be made then. وَإِنَّهُمْ لَفِي شَكٍّ مِّنْهُ مُرِيبٍ. And indeed they are verily in doubt, restless. So it's a kind of a doubt which puts them at unrest. How they cannot make the decision, if this is the right thing or that right thing, what way to follow. Sometimes people are confused and they cannot even make up their mind what to do and what not to do, even at the last moment. And then choice is made by the time for them. They don't make the choice. So we shouldn't put ourselves in that situation. If there is any confusion, we should follow the sources of guidance, Quran and Sunnah, and we should make our decision, make up our mind, and follow the right path according to best of our ability. وَإِنَّ كُلًّا لَمَّا لَيُوَفِّيَنَّهُمْ رَبُّكَ أَعْمَالَهُم. And one more thing we can do in such situations where we are confused is that we make the of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to show us the right path. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides us and He shows us the negatives and positives, and then we can see what is the best choice to make. وَإِنَّ كُلًّا لَمَّا لَيُوَفِّيَنَّهُمْ رَبُّكَ أَعْمَالَهُم. Indeed, each one of them we will definitely give them, your Lord will definitely give them for their deeds, reward or punishment will be given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on their deeds without any reduction or increase in the punishment, and without any reduction from the reward of the good deeds. إِنَّهُ بِمَا يَعْمَلُونَ خَبِيرٌ. Indeed, He is all aware with whatever they do. Yani Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is fully aware, everything is being recorded, angels are writing and everything in counting in numbers, and each and everything without exception is being written, even if it's equal to a speck in the sky or earth, everything is being written and it will be brought and given accountability for. فَاسْتَقِمْ كَمَا أُمِرْتَ وَمَنْ تَابَ مَعَكَ وَلَا تَطْغَوْا. So be firm just as you were commanded, and whoever repented along with you, yani who Prophet ﷺ, who is being advised that you should remain firm on the right path, also as you are commanded, yani whatever the revelation is being given. Also, whoever repented, yani whoever changed his ways and follow the right path, all the believers, whoever repents and walks the right path, then all of you should remain firm, وَلَا تَطْغَوْا, and you should not go into transgression. إِنَّهُ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ بَصِيرٌ. Indeed, He, yani Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is all seeing with whatever you do. So Allah is al-Basir. This ayat tells us that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has Basira, He has the ability to see according to how it suits Him glorified. وَلَا تَرْكَنُوا إِلَى الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا. And you should not incline to those who are unjust. فَتَمَسَّكُمُ النَّارُ. Consequently, the fire will touch you. Because this is a warning towards for the bad company. If someone is following the wrong path, they're unjust towards themselves or towards people, and we are in their company and we have this inclination towards them, we have soft corner in our heart for them, and we spend time with them, eventually we'll walk their paths. What they are doing, we will do the same path, same thing, and then we will be punished because we're walking the same wrong path they are walking. وَمَا لَكُم مِّن دُونِ اللَّهِ مِنْ أَوْلِيَاءَ ثُمَّ لَا تُنصَرُونَ. And there will be no guardian or close friend for you besides Allah, then you will not be helped. Yani and this concept has been given to us not to take friends in non-Muslims. So if we do that, even if there's a Muslim and he's a tyrant, he's doing the wrong thing, we cannot be in their company. We have to stand against them. We cannot support them in any way, because otherwise there'll be no one who can help us when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punishes. وَأَقِيمِ الصَّلَاةَ طَرَفَيِ النَّهَارِ وَزُلَفًا مِنَ اللَّيْلِ. And this ayah gives us the prayers that we pray 5 times, and establish the prayer at the ends of the day. Tarafi is the 2 sides of the day, and the day is as the dawn breaks, so the light starts coming up, and before the sun sets. So before the sun, that's the daytime. After the sun has set, that's evening and night has started. That's part of the night. So the Tarafa Nahari, 2 sides are what? One side is when the sun is rising, and that's the Fajr prayer. And the 2 prayers that are on the other end of the day when the sun starts declining. So first comes Zuhr and then Asr. Those are the prayers on the other side of the day. And وَزُلَفًا مِنَ اللَّيْلِ, and in the early hours of the night. So once the sun has set, the earliest prayer is Maghrib prayer, which is at the beginning of the night. And then as the night gets a little darker, we pray Isha. So these are 2 prayers. So these are time of the prayer that are according to this ayah. إِنَّ الْحَسَنَاتِ يُذْهِبْنَ السَّيِّئَاتِ. Indeed, the good deeds take away the bad deeds. Yani, every time a person has performed bad deed, they should follow it with a good deed so that they can compensate, they can protect themselves. So good deeds take away the bad deeds. This ayah gives us the analogy. Also on the day, in the end of the day, on the day of judgment, the deeds will be weighed. So we should analyze our day on everyday basis. We see how many good deeds we have performed, and if we do any bad deeds, then they'll be compensated. They'll not their weight will not be above our good deeds. So we should strive and put an effort, because we make mistakes throughout the day. We are not angels at all. There's a slip of tongue. There is sometimes anger there. There's emotional things going on. So whatever happens, whatever steps are happening throughout the day, we should make sure that we are performing enough good deeds to outweigh our bad deeds that day. That is a reminder for those who receive reminder. So Quran is a reminder also. Its ayat are a reminder for those who receive the reminder and who take benefit from it. Only those people who take benefit from the reminders, then only reminder will work with them. Otherwise, people who just don't even pay attention and listen, then it will not be work as a good reminder for them. وَاصْبِرْ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُضِيعُ أَجْرَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ, and be patient. Then indeed Allah, because indeed Allah does not waste reward of muhsinin, doers of good. So we should be patient, because it's a daunting, long process where you don't see the result right then and there. You prayed this prayer and you're not going to see suddenly paradise right there. But it's your conviction and strength that keeps you steadfast, and that's where you need patience. You protect yourself from bad deeds, even though many people are doing that, and they're probably, you see them in enjoyment doing those things. But you hold back yourself because it's Allah's command not to do that. You need patience for that. For holding back, you need patience. Pushing yourself, timing yourself. You have to pray 5 times a time in the day. You see people not do that. They don't follow. They're not Muslim. They don't have to pray 5 times a day. But you have to. You have to make sure you have wudu. You have to make sure that you are praying all of your prayers on time, no matter what goes in your day. You schedule your day around it. So it requires effort. It requires a lot of effort. So all this effort will be rewarded because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not waste the reward of the doers of good. Even wudu has reward. When we wash our body parts, the sins are washed off from us. So there is multiplied reward for all the good deeds that we're performing. We just need to have that conviction, and that will motivate us, inshallah. فلولا كان من القرون من قبلكم أولو بقية ينهون عن الفساد في الأرض إلا قليلا ممن أنجينا منهم. Then why not were in the past generations before you ulu bakiyati are good people who would advise others. So people who are good, yanhauna anil fasadi, why they were not good people, enough good people in the past generations to stop from corrupting the earth, except a few. Then whom we saved among them? Yani Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved those few people who were good. Yani from the stories of the past, we have learned that only Prophet and a few believers were with them. The rest of the nations were destroyed. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved those few good people. And imagine if there were more, a bigger group was there. What would have happened? It would have caused bigger impact. But this is how the norm is. Very few people are there who follow the right path. And very few people listen to them. Even if they do their best and they give dawah, very few people listen to them and change their ways. وَاتَّبَعَ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا مَا أُتْرِفُوا إِلَيْهِ. And those who are wrongdoers, they followed their affluent ones. وَكَانُوا مُجْرِمِينَ, and they were criminals. So what happens most of the times, people follow those people who are in power. Imagine people having a lot of money or status. A majority of people follow them and their advice. But majority of people who have affluence, they are on the wrong path. They are pursuing the benefit of the dunya. And this becomes a reason of them going astray. And whoever follows them, they become astray as well, following them. And they become criminals. Because in pursuit of gaining more and more worldly benefits, they forget what's the right thing and what's the wrong thing. They become selfish and they end up becoming criminals. وَمَا كَانَ رَبُّكَ لِيُهْلِكَ الْقُرَىٰ بِظُلْمٍ وَأَهْلُهَا مُصْلِحُونَ. And your Lord was not going to destroy a town with injustice and its people were reformers. Yani Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would never destroy a town if majority of its people were reformers. They were doing the good thing. They were living the correct path. And they were advising everyone, and majority of people were on the right path. So a town that has majority of good people would never be destroyed. And those nations, if we notice in the past, there were few believers and only prophets. And they were saved. And the entire nation was destroyed. So complete annihilation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only comes to those nations that are majority of them are corrupt and are on the wrong path. وَلَوْ شَاءَ رَبُّكَ لَجَعَلَ النَّاسَ أُمَّةً وَاحِدَةً. And if your Lord has wished, He would have surely made humans into one group. Yani if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted all of us to be guided on the right path, it's not beyond His capacity. He's fully capable to do that. But He did not decided that. He did not desire that. So He did not made whole humanity into one single group. Rather, we are all following different paths. وَلَا يَزَالُونَ مُخْتَلِفِينَ. And they continued to differ. Yani, there's always difference of opinion. Even within the groups that are following the right path, there is always difference of opinion. And then there is a bigger, major difference of opinion where people follow their desires and other people are following the guidance, divine guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there will continue to differ in the paths and the scenes that they take for themselves, إِلَّا مَنْ رَحِمَ رَبُّكَ, except on whom Allah had mercy. Yani, only those people who received mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will get the ability to walk the right path. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among them. وَلِذَلِكَ خَلَقَهُمْ. And likewise we have created them. Yani, likewise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, likewise He created them. Likewise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created people that they will have freedom of choice. Very few people walk the right path. Very few people receive mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَتَمَّتْ كَلِمَةُ رَبِّكَ. And kalima, yani decision of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or statement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has been completed. لَأَمْلَأَنَّ جَهَنَّمَ مِنَ الْجِنَّةِ وَالنَّاسِ أَجْمَعِينَ. I will definitely fill hellfire with jinn and humans altogether. Yani all those humans and jinn who are astray, who are not on the right path, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will fill the hellfire with those. وَكُلًّا نَقُصُّ عَلَيْكَ مِنْ أَنْبَاءِ الرُّسُلِ مَا نُثَبِّتُ بِهِ فُؤَادَكَ. And all that we narrate to you, yani Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then we are also listening to the stories to take benefit from it. So all that we narrate to you is from the news of the messengers, so that we make your heart firm with it. How heart is strengthened when we know that, okay, yeah, there were other people who did the same thing and they felt that they faced the same kind of opposition. We are not on the wrong path, rather this is the right path. If we see very few people practicing and majority of people are opposing them and following their desires, and this is how it is. So this strengthens the heart. You feel strongly, okay, yes, I'm on the right path, I should keep doing it. So all these stories are for us to take lesson so that our hearts are strengthened and they're firm on the right path. وَجَاءَكَ فِي هَذِهِ الْحَقُّ وَمَوْعِظَةٌ وَذِكْرَى لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. And came to you in this the truth, yani all that is mentioned in Quran is truth, وَمَوْعِظَة, and admonition, and a reminder for believers. Yani all these things that are in the Quran, they are means of taking lesson. First of all, we should have no doubt there's a truth, and also it's a reminder, because once we take lesson, few days pass by, we forget, then we need to be reminded again. So it's a dhikr. That's why we need to come back to Quran over and over again and take benefit from it, because then we get reminded. But every time we forget, sometimes we come to the same ayat and we understand it differently because of the circumstances we are in. At that time, in that situation, we understand it better than before and different than before. So Quran is a great reminder in that sense. وَقُلِ الَّذِينَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ اعْمَلُوا عَلَى مَكَانَتِكُمْ إِنَّا عَامِلُونَ. And say to those who do not believe, you work on your place, yani you work the way you think is the right path. Indeed, we are also working. Yani we will work according to what we think are the right choices and the right paths, and you do your work on your place in your way, the way you think is the correct way to live. وَانْتَظِرُوا إِنَّا مُنْتَظِرُونَ. And you should wait. Indeed, we are also waiting. Yani how the future unfolds, what things will be, who is on the right path, who's on the wrong path, who will be punished, who will be rewarded. وَلِلَّهِ غَيْبُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. And for Allah is the unseen of the skies and the earth. Yani all the unseen that is out there, it's known to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَإِلَيْهِ يُرْجَعُ الْأَمْرُ كُلُّهُ. And to Him is the return of all the matters. Yani each and everything will be returned to Him. It's not that, few things will be decided by someone else. No, each and every difference will be going back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He will decide those matters. فَعْبُدُوهُ وَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَيْهِ. So worship Him and trust on Him, rely on Him. Yani worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone is extremely important, but also relying on Him in the difficult situations, not relying on ourselves. This is the biggest mistake people make, that they start walking the right path, but they think that they have to rely on themselves. No, the reliance on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala strengthens a person, and reliance on ourselves weakens us. So while we follow the right path, we must learn how to rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how to place our trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whenever we are in difficult situation, we seek Allah's help and we leave it in Allah's hands and ask for guidance. What to do in that situation? وَمَا رَبُّكَ بِغَافِلٍ أَمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ. And your Lord is not at all unaware from what you do. In each and everything, each and every effort that we're putting in, each and every sacrifice that we're making, each and every opposition that we have to face on this path, all known to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And each and everything will be rewarded because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not waste the reward of the doers of good. Okay, alhamdulillah, we concluded Surah Hud. If you have any remarks or any questions, then please go ahead and ask. Inshallah, we'll conclude otherwise. Okay, inshallah. Looks like there's no question. بارك الله فيكم سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام. Have a good
You too, Strahler.